Hey guys, today we're unboxing the EasySMX D05 controller, and this was sent to me for free, but there's no payment for the video. And this is a wireless controller that's compatible with PC, Switch, iOS, and Android. Be noted, it will not work with an Xbox. It also uses a USB dongle to easy connect, but you can directly connect it to a device with Bluetooth as well. Now the packaging itself is a bit cheaper than other controllers I've been recently unboxing. However, this is a really well priced controller, and as long as the packaging gets it to the location in one piece, it's totally fine. So no negative score for the packaging because it is just practical. And inside you'll find your controller along with its charging dock, the dongle, and a USB Type-C cable. And overall the packaging looks quite good inside, keeping the controller very safe. Now first up we've got the dock, and this is super cheap feeling plastic. You might even be able to see it in the actual video. It's got a kind of, I don't know what it is, it's the older, cheaper plastic that feels bad. But seeing as that's just a dock, it's okay, because thankfully the controller feels absolutely brilliant. But if they're going to skimp out on something, the plastic for the dock is not the biggest of issues. However, the controller feels stunning and looks incredible. I love the transparent plastic effect, and it's very subtle on the front and more apparent on the back. It looks really good. I also like the blacked out buttons and all that too, and the gold just gives it a nice overall look. So yeah, super impressed. When I first touched that dock and I was like, oh, it feels cheap. I was really worried about the controller at that point, but I didn't have to be. This controller is very, very nice. Now let's talk about some of the specs. So this thing's got Hall effect triggers and thumbsticks. So far when using it myself, they feel incredibly good. And it also has a 1000 milliamp battery. And so far that's doing really good. And I recently, actually this very month, I checked out another wireless controller with a dock and it had an 860 milliamp battery. So this one's a touch better. But I do wonder about the quality of the battery long term, because in these wireless controllers that are now coming out with rechargeable batteries, you cannot replace the battery, so eventually they will die. But of course, you can still use a controller with a wired connection, so at least there's that. It also has an auto off function, so when you've not been using it for a while, it will switch off. So I've actually been editing up this video right now, trying to figure out how long it is, and it seems to be about 10 minutes and then it'll switch off. You'll also notice that this one has no headphone jack, as well as the actual connectors to recharge when it's on the dock are located in that position. The other rechargeable controller I recently got actually has it on the underside, so it still has an actual port for the headphones. So let's go ahead and switch this thing on. So as you can see, I'm connecting the dongle to the dock. So that means you also need to connect the dock to your PC as well in order to do that. Otherwise, you can also take the dongle and just direct connect it to your PC. And you can also direct connect the controller via Bluetooth to your devices as well. But remember, this controller does not support Microsoft's Xbox. I assume that makes it cheaper because it's not licensed with them, and it seems to be a trend right now. There's a whole bunch of controllers coming out that don't have Xbox support, and I assume that's what helps them bring down the price to this far better budget level. And then by default, it's got this very RGB animated LED stuff going on. A bit too in your face for me. However, this is all customizable, as I'll show you that in a second. But first, I think the buttons are more important, so I'm going to have you guys listen to what the buttons sound like. So overall, the buttons are perfectly good. I have been spoiled recently with a lot of controllers that have very clicky buttons, and I freaking love that. But this is definitely completely fine, and especially for the price, great controller. And I've been playing a ton of Sniper Elite Resistance with this controller, and so far I've been loving it. Now let's talk about the RGB. Most of the time you have to plug controllers into a computer with some sort of software to modify it. But with this controller, you simply modify it with the actual function key on the controller itself, which is really good. No need to download any software. And it works well, and it's super simple, so very impressed with this. And it means I don't have to muddle around with any software or anything like that. And that meant I was able to customize this controller to my heart's content in like 10 seconds, so very good. And overall, this is a very well priced and well built controller. I've had no issues so far using it. The only thing I can't really test is the battery over the long term. It may well die, but thankfully, of course, you can just plug it in and use it as a wired controller after the battery dies, hopefully years from now. And it is a pity that we're losing Xbox support on a lot of these new controllers now, which I assume just makes it cheaper to make. And I've also noticed a bad trend with all these controller manufacturers is they mark their controllers as multi-platform. Someone is 100% going to buy it and think it's going to work on an Xbox, and you have to read the requirements and see that it does not. So a bit of a pity about that, But also I assume because the Xbox has been selling so badly, there's probably less customers out there who actually even need an Xbox controller. And this works great on my PC, 10 out of 10. So yeah, really nice controller. And the dock is quite handy, just plug it in, charge it up when you're not using it, really nice.